Good morning, all, and welcome to Developer Chat, February 13th,
What day is it?
2019. I just got back from LVO, and I'm a little.
You were looking for a prompt too. There's no prompt.
I looked at the date on the monitor.
On the TV monitor.
Yeah,
I just got back from snow.
You just got back from snow?
Most of the time that you were at LVO, we were not in the office because of the blizzards happening.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
my drive home from the airport was Mario Kart.
Oh, yeah.
I power slid from
Yeah.
SeaTac to Northgate and almost died
There were whole fives of inches.
hundreds of times.
Yep.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us here. In case you haven't heard, Seattle's experiencing a bit of a snowpocalypse right now, so we're glad to be here with all of you. Glad to be warm right now.
Yeah.
If you've never watched this before, we stream here twice a week. We do the Dev Chat, which is what you're watching now, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific. And then Get Your Paint On with Jordan Lamb every Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/privateerpress. Here on Dev Chat, we usually talk about CID and what's going on with the game. Get Your Paint On is Jordan painting and going over like hobby tips and tricks. And then once a month, we do Primecast, which is where we get people from various departments in the company come on, and we just talk about what's going on with Privateer Press. Supposedly, allegedly, there's going to be a Primecast this Friday, but with current weather, be prepared for anything to be canceled at any moment.
Yeah. I think that's probably true for Get Your Paint On tomorrow as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Jordan.
Jordan's not currently here today.
Jordan's not here today because it's the apocalypse.
Jordan's
outside.
car is a snowdrift. And hills are dangerous, by the way.
On a less dangerous note, I real fast want to say it's Carl Morgan's birthday today.
Happy birthday, Carl. I saw that in the chat.
Happy birthday, Carl!
Oh, rare Tony vocal appearance on the show.
Thank you, Tony. Happy birthday, Carl. Carl Morgan, for those of you who don't know, is the gent who basically has run War Machine Weekend for the last 30 or 40 years. And is just a beautiful human being. So happy birthday, Carl. Hope you're enjoying it. So before we get into everything, we got a couple announcements to make. Mm-hmm. First off, we should probably introduce ourselves.
Oh. Well, our names are all like right here. Wait.
Yeah. Well, we do the thing, right, where I go, hi, I'm Will Hungerford, lead developer, and with me is Papa Oz Schoonover, development manager, and to my side is little brother Jeff Olson, playtest coordinator.
I am neither littler than any of you, nor brother than. I'm the elder of you, not of Oz.
I'm 38. How old are you?
We established this. I'm a couple months older than you.
Oh, whatever.
July, bro. You're like December, October.
Let's CID our ages.
That's important. Yeah.
Yeah, this is an important factoid.
So before we get into the CID, today we're going to be talking about the Week 2 update for Talion Charter, by the way, everyone, in case you're wondering what we'll actually be talking about. A couple quick things. First off, Mini Crate. We've got 6 days left on Harlequin Verse, so I just want to remind everybody, Harlequin Verse is the current Mini Crate model, which you can go to mini-crate.com and order. If you sign up for the 6-month VIP, you still get the Alexia Handmaiden of Death. But 6 days from now, the Mini Crate model will be swapping over, and then Harlequin Verse will no longer be available. Also, the Legend of the Five Rings Mini Crate model recently changed its Daidoji Uji. You can pick him up.
What clan is that?
I actually...
Do we know?
It's Crane Clan.
It's Crane Clan?
It's Crane?
Yep.
The Daidoji or the Crane Clan. Come on. God, yes.
You're in the RPG. You are the expert on
Unfortunately,
this.
my game was canceled this week because of
Oh,
other.
snowpocalypse.
Yeah.
It happens.
Maybe tomorrow.
So mini-crate.com/L5R. You can go pick up Dodoji if you're interested in picking him up, or any of the other Legend of the Five Rings models as they come out in the future. We have a special Valentine's Day promotion going on.
It's Monster Apocalypse related.
It is, and it's two parts. First off, there is an online sale right now at store.privateerpress.com where you can get some sweet building bundles. Where basically, for the price of several buildings, you get extra buildings for free.
Yep.
If you are picking up Monster Apocalypse, this is a fantastic way to start collecting your city for games. I think, like, for the cost of 4 buildings, you get 6 or 7. I don't remember the exact quantity, but it's something.
There's a bonus building or 2 in every package, and some of the packages are bigger than others.
Yeah, exactly. And so, absolutely, like, check it out, store.privateerpress.com. If you're interested in playing Monster Apocalypse, which you should because it's fantastic, you can get your city started. There's also a special promotion going on right now for Valentine's Day. The I Crush on You promotion. Basically, if you go to Twitter and you write a message to your special Monster Apocalypse crush with the hashtag Monster Crush on You by the 15th, we're going to be giving away some sweet Monster Apocalypse swag. So go check out those posts by Privateer Press, get an idea of what we're talking about, and go hit it up. What else do I... Oh, for those of you that missed it, Danny Samuels, our resident terrain guy, has started a special Instagram where he shows off various bits of the terrain that he's either working on or that we've done in the past, and occasionally has tutorials on making terrain. I know.
Or making tools like that sanding block. He just
did he?
just did, yeah.
That's awesome.
He just
really
explained how important sanding blocks can be to your hobby and how useful they are and how easy they are to make and how he has like a million different grits and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're interested in terrain building, which I know, like, I just came back from LVO with master terrain builder Tyson, who runs the event, who makes these truly absurd and amazing tables every year. Things like with moving parts and like fog machines and flashing lights. So if whether you're just getting started and you're trying to like create your first hill, or you're trying to create a mechanical super table like Tyson, it's a cool Instagram to go check out.
I think Danny's like my favorite staff person to like bumble into because his look is so anachronistic, because he's got like this workshop over in the warehouse and he's got like the big like working apron on.
He looks
and
like a butcher.
or he looks like a glass blower or something. Like
Yeah.
he's back there just like things are happening and noise is occurring and he's just building things.
Yeah.
As opposed to like George who's just like sitting at his desk painting or whatever, or we're just up in our offices typing things and
Right.
he looks like he looks like you're right. He looks like a butcher or something. Yeah.
He's active.
Yeah, it's very tactile.
He's got a vacuum
So yeah,
machine.
if you're on the Insta, go check it out.
Instagram is the
Oh,
best.
turn back that video. That was sweet, Tony.
Yeah, yeah.
One last thing before we get into this. Hey, for everyone that came to LVO, it was great seeing all of you. We just came back from LVO. I'm sure we're going to be talking about LVO a lot more on Primecast on Friday if we're not all frozen to death,
It could be.
which is very, very possible. But it was an amazing show. It was a great time. Cheers to everybody that was there. Also, for all of you that were at Captain Con on the opposite side of the coast, I heard it was a great show. I've seen a lot of really fun photos coming out of that. And for all the international events that also occurred over the weekend. It was a big weekend. We had 3 Masters this weekend with a very interesting spread of factions across all 3. So hope everybody had a good weekend of playing some War Machine. Shall we get to it?
Let's talk about what we just did yesterday.
Fire rats.
This update was super weird because we did it remotely.
We were doing it through email.
It's like, what are you doing? Do you have the latest thing? Here's the changes. This is what we're doing, and all of it seems to have worked out fine. Everything, Typeform got changed over, forms got changed over. There's a new update.
Yeah, let us know if there's anything funky going on.
It was
Yeah.
really peaceful. Like I updated the form. I made new forms last night at like 5 p.m. because my internet started working at my house again.
Yep.
So sorry for the kind of piecemeal update, but we wanted to get all of you an update, and obviously things are wonky right now in Seattle. So, you just want to go down the list and talk
We're
about
gonna
everything
go
that
through it.
changed and everything that didn't
Yep.
change? All right, we'll start with Fiona the Black.
Fiona
So-
Black.
People's reports on Fiona have been really interesting, and talking to people at LVO. I got most of my CID feedback in person
Yeah,
at
yeah,
LVO,
yeah.
where I know you've been more tuned into the forums. People are really enjoying Fiona overall. They're liking the changes. I've heard a few calls for Affliction to come back, but the arguments of why Affliction should come back with this package haven't really been super strong. Just some people, I think, miss it for the sake of missing it. Now, that's not to say it won't come back, but we're looking for more like concrete data indicating why Affliction is necessary for Fiona, and we just haven't seen it yet. Like she's operating sort of as intended and getting a lot of work done. Now, we did make a couple minor changes. We dropped her Warjack points down by 1.
Yeah,
she's
she's
very strong.
performing very well. So we're adjusting a light thing we can adjust without changing any of her core rules.
Yeah, and then Soulfire simply picked up the enemy tags so that you couldn't be doing it on your own.
You can't
Yes.
bunch up your own troops and blow them up.
Yeah, that
for
was a
giant amounts of souls.
potential kind of abuse that was brought
Yeah.
to our attention that people, we just want to nip it in the bud, which was like you could just take a whole bunch of super cheap pirates or a bunch of super cheap steelheads, bunch them up, nuke down 6 of them, get 6 focus, repeat that across your army, and then just arc spells into your enemy caster.
Yep. And I see there's actually a conversation having on Facebook right now where somebody was asking to get rid of Befuddle. They don't like it, followed by somebody immediately saying Befuddle is nuts. Befuddle actually came up a lot at LVO, and generally people think, like, I heard very few people say they didn't like it. They either thought it was good to this probably can't stay on her. But again, what we need right now is battle reports, more battle reports with Fiona. To
Yeah.
have more data,
Yeah.
to really see what people are doing and how she's, competing. And we're doing our own internal playtesting and have been for a while, but as we're making these changes, right now internal playtesting is a little limited because, again, the Snowpocalypse is happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have to be in the same room to play a game of War Machine with each other in a playtest kind of way, especially, and like talk about stuff afterwards and weigh different ideas. And it can't happen when we're all scattered our various frozen houses.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
CID battle reports are always really important, but they're, I think, even more important right now just because of some limitations on getting staff in here to have our normal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Someone
playtest
also
games.
asked a question in Twitch chat about what her battle group points went to. She was at 29. She went down to 28.
Yeah. We didn't change the Buccaneer or the Freebooter.
The Buccaneer did not change, though. Keeping an
So-
eye.
Yeah, we're
on
keeping an
him.
eye on all this stuff.
We
That's
ha-
why
yeah.
it's in the CID.
On the case of the freebooter, when we started the whole CID, we basically boosted all of the Jax's armor by 1 for pirates. So please keep a close eye on the freebooter. We don't want this to be a situation where the right way to play freebooters is to take 30 of them. So if you're seeing that is an issue, we want to keep a close eye on making sure that everything kind of rounds out in a good place without being a negative playing experience for everybody.
Yep. So a jack that did change was the Mariner.
Mariner.
This was a pretty small bump, but nice little. I don't even say quality of life change, just a small bump. The AOE
Yeah.
went from 3 to 4.
Yep.
And this is just based on what we've been seeing, what people are trying to get out of it, the limitations it has on loader, for sort of focus efficiency of the jack with that extra limitation of having to have a warrior
Yeah.
model nearby to shoot it. Also keeping in mind potentially empower and ancillary from the monkeys existing. But right now we're pretty confident that bringing this up to a 4 for basically a ship cannon is going to see the Mariner be a little bit more viable on the table and possibly make it into a few more lists.
Yeah, and we had bumped its melee power up a tiny
Yeah.
bit with a little bit more range at the beginning of this.
In
Because
general-
we wanted it to be that middle of the road warjack that could do both.
Yeah.
And so this is just another bump to its gun to see if we can find that place for it.
On Twitch chat, SmartAlex791 says, "Where can you find a shirt like yours?"
This shirt, this was the lock and load shirt from like 4 years ago or 5 years ago.
It was from the year Cephalix came out.
14.
Yeah, from 2014 when the Cephalix came out. So you can find one on a person who went to lock and load that year, or
Or you can rob Oz.
don't rob me. You may.
he'll be a lock and
If you
load.
see me at a convention, I may be wearing this shirt under my private.
You're going to be
shirt
at
press.
Adepticon.
We got it at Hot Topic.
I am going to be at Adepticon.
We'll both be at Adepticon.
I have got a lot of clothes at Hot Topic, but not this one.
Wait, what?
Not this one.
Emmanuel
No, I didn't
on,
wanna
on
hear
Twitch
that.
says, "Where did I get my shirt?" My shirt's actually available on
Yeah.
the online store.
You can buy that shirt.
So you can go to store.privateerpress.com and get your sweet Thagros shirt. Also, I feel weird doing this and then looking at myself on camera, but that's just a thing that happened.
I'm not
Yeah.
wearing a War Machine
There's also
cartoon.
like the
I'm wearing a Star Trek shirt. Can I show that?
No.
there's also the Fiora metal shirt available. That
The World
This
Tour
was like
shirt?
part of like a 2-part like metal series of shirts that we did. So yeah, you can get those.
Sea Dog Pirates, we're making them cheaper.
We did. We dropped them to 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were 813.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
So-
813. They go down to 7-Eleven, and it is because, with all their solos and all the various synergies that exist within Talion, these guys can hit way above their weight class.
Yeah.
By themselves, they don't do it.
Yeah, and there have been conversations about, can you make the Sea Dog stats better? Well, we don't want to do that because then once you get those synergies going, they blow up the world.
Yes.
So what we're doing is making them better by making them cheaper.
Yes.
And then if people take out the solos that are making them way better, they don't stay super good by having really good stats.
Also, at the beginning of this CID, we kind of clearly stated one of the things we intend Talion to do is to be a swarm.
Yeah,
army.
yeah.
Like you can run it jack heavy if you want to, but its main, one of the main benefits is Sackpawn Sea Dog. We expect to see lots of units of pirates. I mean, it's like a boarding action, right?
Mm-hmm.
The planks come down, the ship empties out, and there's just pirates everywhere.
Yep.
And to help really emphasize that, a slight point drop will help out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So.
This next guy, there's been a lot of internal
Yes.
conversations about,
I-
as well as external conversations.
You go ahead and say what happened, and I'm going to say my thoughts on it.
so the Sea Dog Pirate Rifleman, there's been a lot of conversations about its usefulness.
Yep.
Because it was Rat 4 originally, because it was the exact same stats as the Sea Dogs.
They just given him a rifle.
And it had take up so that it was literally any Sea Dog could grab this rifle and kind of be bad at shooting it.
Yes.
So we bumped it up a little bit to have slightly better Rat, but then that wasn't really doing enough. And so we discussed various things to do this. And what we ended up on was making it basically a specialist inside the unit, making it even better at shooting and giving it sniper, but taking take up off of it so you only ever have the ones you start with. Sniper 9 or however many snipers you can have in an army might be a problem. So this is one of the things we want you guys to test heavily,
Yeah.
is flooding the board with Rat 6 snipers in all your pirate units too good.
Yep. Now, for transparency, not everyone on the team always 100% agrees
Yeah,
on everything.
yeah, yeah.
Like, we have discussions, and then there's ultimately like a majority decision made, and then things happen. So I am not okay with this, and am going to be keeping a very close eye on it.
Yeah.
I think this is entirely too strong. I think this is entirely too much sniper going on. I really want to see what everyone's battle reports are saying. I would love to be proven wrong. I would love for this to be what is right for the riflemen and make them viable, and for people to want to use them as an option, but not be you absolutely have to take them. I just don't want to see them to be you must take maximum FA of the weapon attachment, or just people spamming min units of Sea Dogs to max out the FA on the riflemen, like old school Rocketeer style. Like, Rat 6 snipers, 3 per unit for 6 points. Widowmakers are, 8 for 4. So I'm concerned.
Yeah, and we talked about a lot of different stuff. Don't just throw out any kind of crazy ideas, because we've looked at all of them. Consider what this model is inside this unit and its impact in the numbers you can take currently. Don't say, well, what if you could take fewer of them, or what if you whatever. Yeah, we want.
Sniper's so good.
We put it at this point because we want to test what this looks like on the table.
Yes.
9 of these models. What's the impact of them?
Yeah.
Is it a problem?
And you guys were totally good with that, and we respect that, right? Like, I know there's plenty of things that have gone into CID that not all of us saw eye to eye on. So it's not
and we have a time.
Yeah,
right
we
now.
have the time. So
that change might get reverted to something else on Friday.
See, Ninebreaker WS in Twitch says a great thing. He says, make Widowmaker's FA2. We've never made Widowmaker's FA2 for a specific reason, because we felt that would be too much sniper in Kador.
Pow.
Bang.
Deck gun.
We did. Oh, did we change the deck gun?
No.
The deck gun received no changes.
And actually, the interesting thing about the deck gun is I think it's been received very positively in general.
Yeah, and getting max FA for free in the theme force has definitely helped people put them down. And we realize this is not like one of the stronger weapon crews out there. This isn't like a mortar or one of the ones that has like brutal damage or anything like that.
But it gets the job done for really cheap, and then it just kind of like goes and contests or controls its own.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to dig out, in the late game.
It potentially helps clear out some other light infantry that might end up jamming into your front line of pirates.
So we didn't change Grogspar or Hawk or the press gangers?
Yeah,
or
we're
Bloody Bratigan?
generally pretty happy with how those classic solos are shaping out.
There was a weird question in chat, and it scrolled way past, so I don't
That's
remember
about
who
how
asked it.
someone said the Privateer.
Someone was asking, Grogspar has the Trollkin keyword in his subtype line, but he doesn't have minion will work for Trollbloods. Sometimes rules just exist for narrative reasons and future-proofing of maybe someday there's a thing that says this other model affects Trollkin and it can be taken in a Merc Force.
Yeah, there's lots of instances of things like that in the game.
Models are usually keyworded to match what they are in the story, and then often that has rules effects, but not always.
So you kind of went through these really fast. There's a couple of quick things I just want to touch on
Sure,
real fast. So
sure.
press gangers at the beginning of the CID picked up flat out ambush. There's lots of those a benefit. I know there was some concern that 2 units of press gangers always ambushing would be too strong. We haven't seen that yet play out in the battle reports. Nor did I see, there were CID games going on at LVO, like in the Iron Arena. So we haven't seen anything to show us that that's a problem. If you really feel strongly that double ambushing press gangers is an issue, let us know. Again, Bloody Bratigan, really just want more feedback on him, please.
Yeah.
We need to see more of him being used to make sure that people are kind of reaching out and wanting to play him. And then you sort of just covered Bosun Grogspar. But I know there's some of these cheaper, smaller solos that we don't always see hit the table, because obviously you're going to reach for the more impactful ones, your Rock Bottom, Grogspar, Docs, and Hawks. But if you want to see something happen to Bloody Bratigan, now's the time to let us know. And Hawk as well hasn't received any changes since the beginning.
Yeah.
She's been sort of operating where we anticipate her to be.
Rock Bottom got a change that is related to a different change in the theme force.
Yes.
So we can talk about that now.
So Rock Bottom's Paymaster changed from Sea Dog to Privateer. And what the functional result of this is he can now Paymaster the shard units you can take in the theme force.
Yeah.
They're the only non-Sea Dog units you could target.
Paymaster still targets units only, so not all the Privateer stuff like the Jacks and the Solos. But we are giving a benefit to the theme force, it says the shard models become privateers as well.
Yes.
So this
So-
just overlaps more functionality between all those different models in the theme force.
And this is, I think, a very important, like a very subtle change that has some potentially big ramifications, because you can have a situation where you're playing Shay. He's got his movement buff, Kudamain,
Could have been. And his feet, Godspeed.
and then his feet. And then the Shard Pirates have no quarter on the attachment. And then you paymaster them, and the spray dudes can go crazy and spray huge swaths of things down. So it's a little change. We are aware of the potential ramifications. Please test those and get us some feedback to find out if that is too much or too little or just right.
Sure. There's a relatively large post by Nixu. Hey, Nixu, how's it going? Regarding right now, it feels like Shard Pirates might be stronger in Talion than they are in Crix with a change like this. And how do we feel about that? And that's one of the things we're going to be keeping an eye on. Now, if the Shard Pirates, I think there's a lot of stuff you can do with Shard Pirates in Crix that you can't do elsewhere. But as pirates, if they are particularly strong in the pirate theme in Mercs, that is okay.
Yeah.
We also want them to remain viable in Crix. We're not looking at any changes to them at the moment, but a lot of that could come from Rahera as well, and what Rahera's final design ends up being. And specifically what Rahera ends up doing for those pirates, along with how she would affect a Crix army as well.
Yeah.
She's a really delicate balance, because we don't necessarily want Rahera to end up being not a Talion caster and end up being a Crix caster that's just being run with like Seether spam or Stalker spam.
Yeah.
Like we would like her to do really interesting those pirates as well. So we're keeping an eye on it, Nixu, and it's something we're definitely going to be paying attention to as things go on.
So Dougal McNeil and the Galleon didn't get changes for this update either.
No. Dougal is, I mean, again, we've been seeing that spyglass come up from time to time. That was his major change in the start of the Talion CID. I see a question about Rough Seas from Travis. Travis, we'll get to that when we get to Rahera, and we'll talk about her some more. The Galleon? Jeff, what have you been seeing about the Galleon in the battle report so far? Because I will admit, I got most of my feedback from LVO, and I've not had a chance to check up on a ton of, like, I didn't get to do my sweep on Galleon specifically.
Yeah, in general, people are pretty happy with like the point reduction and the crane. There's still some comments about people who are concerned with things with regards to its general ranged output. I'm generally pretty happy with where it's at, and I think a lot of people are finding it's got a decent home. But we definitely want it to be, like, we want the Blockader to be like the melee-centric one, and we want the Galleon to be the more range-centric one. So we will definitely want to keep an eye on that and make sure that they're both kind of fitting that mold. But in general, like, the point drop and the crane goes a long ways towards correcting a lot of its issues that it had leading into the CID. And I think we talked about how, like, Bart's not in the CID. This is a way that Bart just gets better, though, by buffing the Galleon, for example.
Yeah. A lot of my conversations I had at LVO were about the Blockader, or the Blockador, as some of you like to pronounce it, but it's the Blockader, by the way.
Yes.
And concerns that it might end up overshadowing the Galleon if not. And it was a lot of like good talk about what people felt what the strengths of the Galleon were with the new point drops, what they felt that did for Bart. And people, by the way, I know Shay and Bart isn't something we're covering yet, but from what I've seen and from the conversations I was having and from what I've had a chance to read in the CID forums, overall, it looks like Shay and Bart are in a really good spot, especially with a lot of changes happening around them. So, but let's carry on with the next change.
The Devil's Shadow?
Yeah.
They're getting a tiny change. We're making Moreland's cutlasses also range 1, just like Mars.
But they also got a points drop.
And they got a tiny points drop.
Yeah, they went down from 8 to 7 points, which is pretty exciting because I run them in my Cephalix list a lot on the Dominator. But you know, one little point drop can help out a ton. And as a character unit, we want them to be impactful. We don't want them to be in every single list. It's some character units, like if you're playing Sons of the Tempest, you're probably bringing Black 13th. We're not looking for the Devil Shadow Mutineers to be brought as much as the Black 13th is in Sons as you would bring in Talion, right?
Yeah.
But we want them to be a viable, fun option when you decide to take them.
There's also, like, there's been some people who have been trying to push some change on them. they're a pretty complex unit with lots of complex interactions. We're not looking to just add rules to a unit that. So this might be the kind of unit where their points just drop until they're at a spot where they're at the right spot, basically, right?
Yeah. And this might be it.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are a complex unit. Like each of them does something very
Totally different.
Totally different. Yeah.
Bloodbound interactions are interesting. There's a I always forget her name. Zira.
Oh, Zira's like the star of that
Yeah,
show.
well, I mean, and she has her Weapon Master pistols and Eyeless Sight, and then the other one's got Berserk, and the other one's got, they all have different things going on. There's a lot of things happening in this unit.
I will admit personally, when I take the Devil Shadow, which again I do a lot in my Cephalix list, I'm basically buying Zira. The other two are there to bring Zira back when she dies, and then Zira. Like, she's phenomenal. The Powder Monkey did not receive any changes.
No, the Powder Monkey is still one of those top concerns.
Yes.
But we didn't see enough feedback and stuff about it this week to change it.
Well,
Up until this week.
It's also you're not wrong. It's more like we're trying to make sure that we're getting a good amount of feedback into. We know is this thing pushing the limit, or is it acceptable? Understanding that it is very much constrained to Talion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would honestly not be surprised if by the end of this we see the Powder Monkey go up to 3 points.
That is probably makes a certain amount of sense to me as well.
That's a pretty safe.
Like,
guess.
We're not saying that's going to happen, but at 2 points with everything it's got, I have a feeling it's either going to lose a rule and stay at 2 points, or it's going to go up to 3 points.
It's definitely a conversation that will absolutely occur.
Yeah. So, because Empower and Ancillary on this thing is just really, really strong for its point value.
And I think a big sticking point for people is that the catastrophic explosion on such a cheap, accessible model is getting a lot of value in terms of killing opponent models for too easy, essentially.
The Swashbuckler didn't get any changes.
And the Scallywag didn't either.
And we should talk about these two for a second.
Yeah.
So the Swashbuckler, I went through and I compiled a report just the other day to send out to the dev team of basically all of the reports that the Swashbuckler has been in. It was like 7 with an error rate of maybe a report. So this was just a case of we didn't really feel like we had enough data to really make decisions on it because there was some people who were vehemently opposed to it and some people who were like, no, this was just a cheap little light jack and it did a thing in my army and I felt fine doing that thing.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of one of the reasons it didn't get changes is sort of like a drumbeat to the community to like, please test this thing. Like emphasize it in your testing. Build lists that specifically includes them. Build lists that spams them. Whatever you want to do, build lists with swashbucklers and then give us your feedback about it. Is it totally okay the way it is, or does it need help in some capacity?
Yep. Scallywag.
Whew. This is another one that also didn't really receive changes, not because he wasn't in reports, but because the reports are pretty divided in terms of a lot of people really like him, and some people thought maybe he's a little too expensive, or he didn't do enough, or yada yada.
He does have plenty of rules.
He has many rules.
So I want people to play this more to really get their head fully around it because of all those different interactions and rules and things it can do before we start drastically changing it because of 1 or 2 pieces of feedback.
Yep.
How do you feel about the Scallywag?
I mean, I look at the Scallywag, and this guy has just got a lot going on. I mean, he has a ton of text for a character light. That means he has a ton of versatility. I think we need to see him used in a lot of different options, and we'll be interested to see what comes up. I mean, for instance, when we talk about a small one, hit the deck, right? Hit the deck's a rule that we need to really consider if it needs to be there or if we need to end up cutting it, right? A, to save text, and also because it leads to some strange interactions. Sometimes it's super useful because he's got feigned death, right? We want some way to interact with feigned death, but at the same time, the Scallywag is very much a get up in your face, jump around your back line. You know, he's going to get mixed up really fast. So if you're on your opponent's activation, if they clip him with an AoE, they knock him down, and then suddenly you just trivially walk over and beat him to death, right? And so like hit the deck on people like Dougal, who wants to be in the back, where AoEs might drift on him. Was a far more pertinent and useful ability, but on somebody who wants to get in the mix, is hit the deck a major drawback instead.
Yeah, and that's some of the feedback we've been seeing.
Yeah, and if we cut that, if we cut hit the deck, then we have to actually consider, do we also cut Feign Death and Rise? Because now he no longer has a thing that is tied to that knockdown mechanic. So there needs to be a lot of testing and seeing the interactions people are having on the table to determine if this is like 3 rules, we may end up cutting off the scallywag, and possibly they get replaced with something else that's a little bit more, less detrimental for a Jack that is clearly a skirmisher. That's my thoughts.
We have a question in Twitch chat about considerations for bringing more Crix Pirates playable theme. That is not currently something that is on deck for.
That was bad.
What? That was.
No, it was bad. No, Tony
Tony
says,
gave the thumbs down.
Tony's the arbiter
Of
of
bad
good
puns.
and bad puns.
Anyways, no, that is not something we're currently
Yeah.
considering, nor would expect this to do so at the moment.
Yep.
On deck.
No.
Matthew Bunting, huge Batman fan, by the way, says hit the deck.
Not relevant.
I'm just saying, like we always talk about it. Make hit the deck optional.
I know you always talk about Batman. I'm aware. I share an office.
Yes. Holy smokes.
Matt, we're
just
not
like,
interested in making hit the deck optional because it's going to be on other models, and the way it currently works, we don't want it to be an optional ability. We want it to, it's a defensive tech ability. If you get hit by the AOE, we don't want you to like stand there and get killed while you hit the deck. We'd rather you make it a mandatory rule just based on sort of how it functions. So, if anything, if we find out it's just not acting right on the Jack, we'll just take it off of them.
Yeah.
And the whole package, the whole module that's sort of built around it.
The Swabber got a significant change.
Yes, he did.
So he's a model with a shield. And we had done girded originally because Lash and girded have some interesting interactions because that means models that are touching it get 2 bonuses. But it wasn't really coming into play a lot. So we tried to dial it up a little bit and gave it shield guard. Now this might be the end of the world. Maybe. Like taking a bunch of these means nothing can ever get, none of your solos can get sniped out, and your army perfectly functions synergy-wise the entire game. So that's one of the things we want to test. But it definitely does give this model a place in the faction and the theme force functionality to protect those models like Doc and stuff that you don't want to get shot before you really get stuck in.
Yeah, this is one that I'm really interested to see the battle reports. I'm interested to see all of them, but this one's got. I don't know how I feel about it 100% yet. I mean, I think it's an interesting change. I think it's a good little power bump. But we've already got Sack Pawn Sea Dog. Now, outside of Talion, this makes this Jack more viable.
Yeah.
In Talion, I've already got all my little dudes I can bump off to. I have ways to recur them with press gangers, Shanghaiing. So is the shield guard there for when you clear out everyone else around me, or maybe I really just don't want to ship it off to a Sea Dog for whatever reason, but I find that can be kind of unlikely. So I'm not sure how good shield guard actually is going to end up being in Talion.
Sure.
But for other players in other mercenary theme forces, I do think this is a solid change. So
Yeah, I mean, shield guard is just a good rule.
it is just a good rule.
Yeah.
100% of the time. There's never a time when shield guard is not, in some capacity, a useful rule.
Yeah.
My only concern with the shield guard change is, does this mean that the Swabber competes? I'm sorry, Rover? Is that the one with the Rover? He's got the shield cannon and the shield guard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, my Merc Jacks, I always forget all the names. So, yeah, that's my big concern is, does the Swabber just become either a less good rover or a better rover, or are
Yes.
they perfectly aligned with each other?
And is this rules real estate better used in another capacity, right? And so right now Shield Guard feels pretty good, but
Yes.
but I will admit there's something just a little strange about it within Talion. So get your games in, again, cid.privateerpress.com, and let us know what you think, how it feels to you, and if it's cool. I see a couple calls in the Twitch chat asking for things like dual attack and stuff on the Swabber. That's definitely not what we're looking for out of him. We do want something that does relate to the fact that he has this. He's the only one privateer Jack that has a giant shield. And so we want it to be something more defensive tech. Originally it was girded, now it's shield guard. I would say that slot definitely needs to fall into defensive utility of some kind.
Yep. Captain Rahera.
Oh, Rahera.
Whoa.
You want to do this one, Jeff?
And
Actually, can we actually just do the Blockader real quick before we get into Rare? Just that's the last one we deal with.
Sure.
Sure.
Because the Blockader got some changes, and I think Captain Rahera is going to be a conversation, right?
Yeah.
So the Blockader, what we did is we bumped up the sprays from 8 to 10. This is the fire sprays.
I'm going to stop you real fast.
Ooh.
Nixu in Twitch chat says, talking about the Swabber, what about things like Roadblock? See, I think that's a great suggestion, by the way. Definitely get in the CID forums, play some games, and then if you feel that Roadblock would have been useful, post that in your battle report. Because stuff like that is super great for us to hear and for us to discuss. But we want to see how we would play it on the table based on what exists and what could exist.
Yes, correct. Exactly. Everything he said is pretty good.
Yeah,
Totally.
I like Roadblock. It's a good idea. But anyway, the
I think
block.
Roadblock could come up at some point too.
Yeah.
Like
We've tried Roadblock on numerous models over the years, and it rarely fits because of what they want to be doing and what other models around them want to be doing.
it is
But
also
it's
slightly challenging of a rule to actually like make happen on the battlefield just a little bit sometimes.
yeah.
But it's not a bad suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, the Blockader, real quick. So we bumped up the sprays to 10, and we also gave him shooting gallery, so he gets a bonus to his range attacks when he's hitting models within 5 inches of him.
Yeah.
The goal here was to basically up his range game a little bit. So the way I see it personally is it makes him really good at clearing out chafe of like models that are trying to jam him out. Like you run up a bunch of infantry to the Colossal to gum it up. This helps him clear all that out.
Yeah.
It also lets him like late game dirtle over for zones and then spray things down. It's definitely not supposed to be like a dedicated range platform, but to be an option. Definitely the focus on him is his rocket fists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is supposed to be that option when you need that option.
Yeah.
And we also don't feel like it's broken strong right now because of the D3 shots. Because you can't guarantee that you're going to get all six
sprays
of those sprays and just murder an entire army.
Yeah.
But also you're not going to often just get 2 of them and not have a big impact.
Yeah.
So it'll swing back and forth.
My opinion on the matter is I think the spray 10 was a great change. The shooting gallery has me concerned. I don't think it needs to be there. I think if this being the melee jack, it promotes ranged, which I don't like. I also think you can hot shot it and run it up there and do some stuff with broadsides. And I don't really need Rat 7s with boosted sprays going out that much. So
Yeah.
on my personal watch list is going to be the shooting gallery effect on the Blockader. And I will say it's something I'm hoping that if it pans out we don't need it, we cut it.
Yeah, for my money, I would love to see the Blockader have just the right amount of shooting that you feel like there was a solid turn in the game where it was a good option for you to shoot something.
Yep.
And I would really like the focus on the Blockader to be what is that perfect amount of shooting for him to have, and then let's really dial in all the melee beatery he's going to do.
Yeah.
Like, find out where that needs to be so that we know that when he goes in, he's killing the thing he wants to kill. Right? Or a couple things. Or 8 things. I don't know. A million things. Let's figure out what that is.
Sure.
Well, maybe not a million things.
I mean, how many total War Machine models exist in the world?
Lots.
More than a million.
Well, then killing a million things seems fine.
Okay, cool. Okay, so Captain O'Hara, the first thing is the spelling on the top name is correct. The spelling on the short name is a typo.
Correct.
It is
It is
R-A.
Ra-Hera, not Re-Hera.
Yeah. So we're gonna tweak that the next time we get this.
This is a
update
perfect
out.
example of where the remote
Yeah.
development went awry because I had this in my notebook, which I stayed on my desk in the office, which was not on my desk at home. So when we were going over stuff, it just didn't make it into the, hey, here's a quick thing we need to remember to do.
Yeah.
My bad.
So we've gotten a lot of feedback on this model, and we've made some significant changes to it. That's a safe statement, right?
Yes. So this is a difficult model to balance and to get feedback on because it plays one way in Talion and it plays a vastly different way in Crix. And with the feedback we're getting is kind of in opposite angles. Because
Yep.
people are wanting to see a certain package that works within Crix and another package that works within Talion. So we've made some powerful changes. Specifically, the feat got completely changed because we saw what the feat was doing in Talion and Crix. We're going to see what this feat does and trying to find a way that she's viable in both factions.
And this is elements of a feat we've tested before.
It is.
This was one of her. This was very close to, if not exactly, one of the original feats she had that we tested months ago.
What people are saying has had actual several months of internal play testing. So do you want to go ahead and go over what changed?
No, that's all I want to say.
All right. So You got it.
All right,
I'll let
sure.
Jeff do it.
So we changed the feat. It no longer provides Bloodbound and Crit Decapitation to your living models. It now means she gets to cast Manifest Destiny immediately for free. And then, while in her control range, well, it does say friendly models.
Yeah.
This is, again, it could very easily just change to friendly faction. Might remain friendly. Play it as it lies. We'll go from there. But they gain Sprint. So this right there, one of the common concerns was that she was suffering from a little bit of focus problems. This immediately alleviates some of that by giving her, means that she has Manifest Destiny and her defensive or offensive tech up when she needs it to be up.
There's a quick question in chat. Squalish asks why not split her card like Old Witch 2 and 3. The reason that Old Witch 2 and 3 exist as a split casters is because one was in a War Machine faction, one was in a Hordes faction. They needed different language.
Yeah, one had to have Focus and Fury. We had to have Respawn and Reconstruct. Is that what it is?
And then also some of the abilities, were specifically for beasts. If Old Witch 2 had worked for, was a Signar Khador caster or something like that,
She probably
it probably would have just been one card.
Yeah. And we're not interested in having a version of her that's Crick with an entirely different feat or spell list or whatever, and an entirely different version in Talion. She needs to exist in both of those things at the same time. So that's where we need to hit that sweet spot. So they gain Sprint. This immediately gives a ridiculous amount of mobility to your army. It's also pretty non-specific, so go crazy with Banes. Why not?
Yep.
Then, the other thing we did is we took away Windstorm and replaced it with a new signature spell for her called Rough Seas. It's the same casting cost as Windstorm, so it's 3. So she could Blood Boon it, for example. It's about half of her stack. And what it does is when you target a model in her control area, so any of her models within 12 inches of her, enemy models targeting those models are -5 range. So basically this is control area Phantasm.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like it works similar to the Desert Hydra's Animus, where it's not the enemies in the range. The model you're targeting is in the range.
And it's in a very similar place to what her replaced spell did.
Yes.
But with her small control area, that spell was less impactful because the enemy model had to be inside the control to suffer the range. So we're looking at this a lot because it's really strong. And it is a signature spell. It's brand new. It doesn't exist anywhere else. So we could change the range on that effect, or we could do other stuff like that to balance this spell out and make it not just shut down everything.
What I would say to everyone playing is, if you're part of the CID, don't expect this feat and this spell to stay how they are. Play them as is printed in the current testing cycle. Get those games in. Show us what you were capable of doing. Bloodletting. If bloodletting stays as it is, or didn't change much from how it is now, don't be surprised to see the word living pop up. Friendly living models gain Sprint, things like that.
Yep.
But shows what you can do. Shows what you can do with a bunch of Banes. Shows what you can do in all the different theme forces.
With a whole bunch of Jacks, with a whole bunch of Stalkers, with a whole bunch of...
Rough Seas is obviously crazy powerful.
Yes.
And you should expect some toning to happen to it.
It is a very common practice of ours to introduce extremely potent elements to see where they go and then dial them back. And just in the same way that we sometimes create things that are a little bit under-tuned so that we can dial them up. So,
But it is always easier to pull something back a slight bit to the good spot than to try and keep pushing something up and up and up.
Because you have your risk at end up in something that's overtuned at that point.
Yeah.
So does Rough Seas end up getting toned down to -3 range, -2 range? Does it just have to cease to exist completely because it's just entirely too powerful?
Well, or cost 4 so she can't blood boon it, and it
there's a lot of things that can
there
be done.
There are tons of options.
Almost certainly be done.
Yep.
I doubt we're going to change the focus cost of it, but that is also one of the options.
Yes.
So we're in the middle of the CID cycle right now. It ends next
Hold
a
on,
week
we have
from...
one more thing to cover.
Oh, do we?
The theme force.
Oh, yeah, please. Sorry.
No, you're good. We don't have a sheet for it. It's on here, so it's easy to forget. It's right there. But anyways, the bombardment, the pre-game bombardment from the Talion theme benefit. It was a 10 inches from enemy models. You would put down some templates, and they would scatter. First off, I'd like to point out that we added this very much as a very fun, themey benefit. There's not a replacement for this benefit. In many regards, we consider it as it's just a thing that's there that we like, and we're not going to just replace it with something better because we just gave it to you because we thought it was cool, not because we felt the theme needed an additional benefit. So don't expect to see this just change to something totally different. If it was going to change, we would just pull it entirely, and that would be that.
But the battle reports were showing that some people were having trouble resolving it, and it was actually hindering them.
Yes, there is too
Yeah,
much
it would drift
case
sometimes
of,
back too far towards your own
towards
stuff.
your own stuff. It would drift way offline. It would go all sorts of wacky places. We don't want it to be a negative play experience for the person firing the bombardment. So what we did is make it, you're still deviating from a minimum of 10 inches away, but it will always deviate towards your opponent because it will always deviate towards the 1, 2, and 6 on a D3 roll. So it'll always go some amount towards your foe and hinder them as opposed to the other way around.
Yep. Tom Bell on Facebook says, do we have any sort of background info on the new caster? They want to customize the Galleon so that it looks like that Rahera owns it. So what I would do is, this Friday is Primecast. If Doug Seacat can make it in, I'm sure he'll be on it. I don't know that, but again, like that schedule's a little crazy right now because of the weather. But if Doug makes it in, Doug is the perfect person to ask on Primecast. So come join us Friday, and that's something we can probably deep dive into a little bit of the lore on.
And Rahera is another Shard Islander, so we've got the Shard pirates and
Yeah.
those kind of models.
You can get
see
an idea of
you
what
can
her
see
face scheme will be
from
like,
from
probably.
some of that previous art and stuff that those people are humans, but they tend to be a little bit more tribal and also maybe a little blighted here and there. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, totally. I don't think,
Hang bones on it, and then
Yeah.
ask Doug what he thinks.
and give it like sweet, like paint cool tattoo things like on it, like markings, be sweet.
Bunch of tribal tattoos. But so we're in the middle of the CID cycle. It ends a week from Friday.
Yes.
As you can see, there were some significant changes made and some minor changes made. Some of these significant changes are definitely worth testing. Rahera is a huge one.
Yes.
The Powder Monkey, whether or not it stays at 2 or 3 points. What ends up happening with that hit the deck on the Swashbuckler? So there's still
Scallywag.
Sorry. There's still
I mix those two guys up all the time.
there's still a
It's
lot of
almost the same
data
word.
Yeah.
we need to pull in right now. So please, cid.privateerpress.com. Go in, and even if you can only post one battle report during the entire cycle,
It's helpful.
every data point you
Yep.
can provide us is useful. And I will say that, again, I said it in the beginning, we get lots of internal playtests here at Privateer Press, but the weather has really messed things up right now. So we are getting less internal playtests than we would like. So we love you. Please help.
Yeah.
The more games you can get in, the better, and the more data we have, and that's just wonderful.
Yep.
The other thing that I would like to mention is also using the feedback form. Use the feedback form. Those are the two primary sources we use to collate data, and as our primary form of determining community feedback is battle reports and the feedback form. Theory and list building is great for exactly that, but we also understand that theory very often does not necessarily translate into practical in-game experience.
Yeah.
So please don't go to the Theory and List Building forum and post your thoughts with an expectation that I'm going to read those and go, oh my God, let's send this off to Souls. That's not how it works.
Yeah. And when you fill out that type form, in addition to checking how many stars you think it is, give us an idea of why you did that, because often people say, well, I rated this really low because it's too expensive, or I rated it really low because it's broken powerful and it's bending the entire meta. So we need to know what direction your thoughts are going for why you rated something low. High ratings, we understand people like models that have high ratings and they think they're great. But those lower ratings, we need to know if you think it's a negative or a too positive kind of position for that model.
And Dorian mentioned something in Twitch that's very real, is that the theory tends to become wish listing. And so you'll typically notice me going in there as people will say, well, what if we did this? And what if we did this? And I'll say, hey guys, it's wish listing. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for facts and data as best supported by actual in-game experiences as possible. Yeah.
Cool.
Is that fair?
Yeah. Before we get out of here, there's been a couple of questions, and I think we're going to hit a couple of questions in chat real fast. Nick's asked about getting a Shard Pirate feedback by Friday. Just to make clear, the CID is not in this Friday. It ends next Friday.
Yeah. So we have a week and a half, basically.
You got a week and a half to get any feedback you'd like. I'm just going to say Genesis. Is it Vega Genesis?
Yeah.
Oh, Vega Genesis. Okay.
It looks like Vega Genesis.
They want to know if Infernals are the next CID or if there's one in between. We can't say just yet.
Yeah.
We are still formulating plans
And also
we will, more than likely next week on Wednesday, we'll give people some sort of hint or just announce what the next one is. And maybe even a time frame kind of idea for it.
And we basically bring this up every dev chat. We probably will bring it up every dev chat until the sun burns out, but we no longer announce CIDs in advance. So,
Well, we tease CIDs in advance, but we don't announce them.
Yeah.
And for everybody who's asking questions about model releases or packaging of models or any of that kind of stuff,
we just don't know.
those are all decided by departments that are not
We
us.
just don't know.
And often those decisions are made late,
Yeah.
like close to release dates even sometimes. So whether a model's going to be released in a certain packaging or when a model's going to go for pre-order on Black Anchor or whatever, all that stuff is up for sometimes fluctuating until literally the moment it's announced. So we even if we did know those things, we wouldn't necessarily be broadcasting them.
There's been a couple questions both on Facebook and Twitch. Justin on Facebook, DGC on Twitch, asking about when is the weekly Rumble going to come back? So battle streams will be coming back. There's some changes going on. We were hoping to have something a little bit to announce for you, but obviously Snowpocalypse sort of really threw a wrench in plans.
We have a lot of things we need to really get done.
Yeah. You have not seen the last of Privateer streaming games. It will be returning, and as soon as we can get you some more details, it's coming. But we've not forgotten about it, and if for some reason it was to never ever happen again, we would let you know. Don't worry, we're not going to ghost you.
Yeah.
We love you. We will give you a call back. Swipe left.
And then additionally, and this is a little bit of an aside, Riker's Iron asks about a Riot Quest CID. Riot Quest will not be going into CID. It's a whole new cool game that we'll be releasing. And I think you said that you got people pretty hyped for Riot Quest over LVO just by giving some little teasers, kind of like that.
People were just sort of hyped about Riot Quest, and the more I talked about it, they got more interested in just people finding out about the game. Also, for everyone at LVO and Captain Con this weekend that had fun with Monster Apocalypse, by the way, there was a maxed out tournament for Monster Apocalypse at Captain Con. We'll have to see some Mom Pock events at LVO next year. But yeah, that was really cool to see. Like, whoever came up with the comic book style of painting Mom Pock models,
They look awesome.
and I think there have been multiple people at once. You're all geniuses. It looks brilliant. Keep doing that. Looks awesome. So I believe it's time for us to get out of here.
Yeah, we got the little music going. It's gonna slowly
Almost
go
out.
up. It's like I feel like I'm in Independence Day right now. And the president's giving a speech.
We should be on tomorrow with Get Your Paint On at 10 a.m. Pacific with Jordan, but he might be snowed in. We'll tweet and Facebook about it if we can make it. Until next time, we'll see you guys on Primecast on Friday.
Maybe I'll just go in there with like a house paintbrush and just a powder monkey and just
hose
spend
it
an
down.
hour just slapping it with a house paintbrush.
Just flick paint on it. You just grab it in the bush and just start like one of those. Maybe a roller.